guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be talking about ways to not feel guilty using your sinking funds. I did do a post on my Instagram and asked you guys, just a reminder that it is seriously okay to use your sinking funds, and you guys did say that sometimes it's super hard. But first thing first, guys, before we hop into this video, if you have not already joined the family, please make sure to click on the subscribe button and then also click on the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. Helps the algorithm, helps the budgeting community, and y'all, we're all a family here. All right, so without further ado, guys, let's go ahead, hop in and get started. So I'm just going to basically just write in this little notebook that I have, and we are just going to do I'm just going to do not feel guilty using sinking funds. All right, so we're going to do just 5 little tips or 5 little things that I suggest, just to think about when you're using them and you're like, I don't want to use them. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, is to remember what sinking funds are. Okay, so first of all, sinking funds is just a system using cashless envelopes or physical envelopes to store cash to use in time of need for a certain goal or for a certain item that you want to purchase. Kind of like a layaway, but you don't get to grab the item and tell them to stash it in the back for you. You just have to save for it and then basically just wait it out until you have the money. So if you think of sinking funds, what they actually are, their main purposes, that's a good way to be like, oh, I have this for these shoes that I need to get my child for school. Okay, well, that's what it's for. Let's go ahead, grab it, use it, order the shoes, or go to the store to grab them. All right, so 2 is, why did you start a sinking funds? So you want to be like, why you started it in the first place. Okay, so basically it's basically to save for expenses that have always caught you off guard in the past. For example, you having to pay late fees because you didn't have the money to pay a bill, or having to go without something when it was something seriously that you needed for your well-being, your health, for your family, and then also charging it to your credit card where you're paying interest. So basically the sinking funds was something to kind of save your butt, well, not kind of, but to save your butt from having to spend extra money, and then also like saving in emergency funds, because no one knows what the future holds. So you don't know, like one day you can have a job, the next day you don't have a job, because you just don't know. So it's always good to have a sinking funds there, so that just in case something happens, you have that in place. And then if that's in place, it's okay to use it because that's what it's for. So example for me was like my property taxes. I would always get in this, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would always get in this crazy rut where I would wait till the last minute to pay my property taxes. Sometimes I would just forget. So it would be like, I go to pay my car property taxes, they're like, oh, the DMV has a stop pay on it. So then I would have to go to the DMV. I would have to pay them $50 plus wait in line because you know how long the line can get. And then I would have to pay the $50, and then I would have to keep calling back and forth downtown to see if they took the stop pay off of my account so that I can get my decals. And mind you, by this time my decals are expired, so I'm riding around dirty. Okay, so, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, so it's just like so stressful. So then by the time they do that, I have to go back downtown. When I call and they say that the stop pay was lifted, I had to go downtown, pay my property taxes, then go back to the DMV to get the decals. I mean, I could have done it online or in the mail, but if you're in that situation, you're just trying to get everything pretty much done and get it over with. And then also time is a big factor too. So that's why just saving up and using the sinking funds is like pretty much a better idea for the whole situation. All right, so 3, we got remember how it has helped you and your family. All right, so basically how it can help you is there is no or less stress in situations when emergencies popped up, because you know most of the time when something happens and you have to pay for something and you're just like, where am I going to get it? You just go crazy. It just like nobody better say anything to you, because you're going to be like, what do you need? I got stuff going on. So that will kind of help tone down the anxiety that you would have if something arises. So you can just basically go to your envelope, don't feel bad about using it, pull the money out and pay for whatever you need to pay for. And then also it's like a sense of security knowing you have a plan in place. So that is another easy way to use your sinking funds. It's like, hey, this is what our plan was when we first started it. It was, if anything happened, we were going to go to get the money out of this envelope, use it, and then start over and start adding money back to our envelopes. All right. So another thing that will help you not feel guilty is basically the money set aside. And you get to enjoy things you used to de-stress yourself, or things that you want to do. Because I was just watching on our Instagram also, a good example is the Crafty Budgeter. Her and her husband was able to go to Niagara Falls, and that was something that she could pretty much check off her bucket list. But because she had sinking funds and she knows she had that set aside just for that. Oh, and I love her channel, and I just wanted to throw that in there. Love your channel. Okay, and so she had that money set aside that they were saving. So why feel guilty using it when that was the money that they had set aside? And if you saw her reel on her Instagram, you can tell she was a happy camper. But yeah, so, and then like also like our beach trip, we were able to book it, not feel guilty or worry about using our rent money or mortgage money or our light bill money, leaving, coming back, and then be like, we spent our rent money on eating out, or we spent our rent money on buying stuff. Same thing for Christmas. So that is a way to not feel guilty about using it. That's what it's for. Set aside. When the time comes, grab that envelope, use it. You can always refill it. It's always replaceable. All right, so 4 is another way to not feel guilty is to set, my handwriting is off the chain, set an amount to reach. Okay, so sometimes setting a numerical amount for sinking funds will help so much. It's basically, I feel like it's a mind thing. So it's kind of like Christmas, like you set, like, say if you have $500 that you set aside, and once you get to that amount, you know in your mind that, hey, this is the money that I have set aside for Christmas. You will feel like so awesome going shopping, because you know that is not going to be money that you're going to need for something else, because you have other sinking funds for, let's say you have it for your clothes. You have your sinking funds for your emergency funds, just in case something happens. But you know that that money is set aside just for Christmas shopping. A lot of times that will ease you, because you know some people, they don't have the money, but they do get the Christmas gifts, and then it's just like they're just like, you can't even say anything to them, because they're just like going off all the time because they're mad because they have to spend the money on Christmas. But this will make you feel a lot better spending it, because you have sinking funds that are set aside for Christmas, and you're going to be like, this is what it's for. I'm going to use it. Let's go shopping. All right. So the 5th one I have is to set aside what you're comfortable with. All right. So this one I cannot stress enough, is to add amounts that works for your budget, not someone else's budget. And you want to focus on how much you can set aside without dipping back into it realistically. So this right here, if you have money that you set aside, normally you will pretty much forget about the envelopes that you have if you're setting amounts aside that is conducive to your budget. You're going to be like, okay, I have like $5 set aside, so I don't need that anywhere else in my budget, so that's fine. So when it's time to use it, you can be like, oh, well, this is the money I had set aside for clothes that I needed for the winter, so I'm just going to pull this envelope out, go buy something, and then refill it back up again. So but if you seriously need to dip back into your envelope, it's okay. Nobody's gonna lock you up. You're not going to jail. You just have to do what you got to do. So if you need to pay your lights and it's going to get cut off, you use your sinking funds in serious situations like that, you know. But if it's like a designer bag that you trying to get that you don't need, you might want to kind of, you know what I'm saying, don't use it, but set up a sinking funds envelope for that purse, girl. Set it up, okay? So just like when I wanted to buy a Switch, it was not a dying need. That's something that I needed, but it was something that I wanted, and I saved for it, and I did like $5 here, $5 there, $20 here, and then I used some of my Fetch Reward points. So basically when it was time, when it was in stock, because for a while the Switch was not available a lot of the time, so I luckily got it at Target at the right time. But you can just, I pulled that money out of my envelope, and I did not feel guilty about it at all. I just got my little envelope and I cashed in my little Fetch Reward points for my Target gift card, walked up to the counter, was like, hey, I need to grab one of those Switches. Can you get it out the case for me? And I walked up, didn't have any second thoughts, put it on the counter. He scanned it. I gave him the little money, scanned my Fetch Rewards, and I was out. And then after that, I didn't feel guilty of like, I shouldn't have got it. I got my light bill coming up. I shouldn't have got it. I got the rent bill coming up. Or, oh, this came up. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty much okay with using it because I know that was money that I worked hard for. I set aside for myself, because even though I am budgeting, I still need to reward myself, and I still don't want to, you know what I'm saying, like punish myself because I do have some credit cards. I still can buy stuff for myself and my family, you know what I'm saying? So we still can do stuff, but that's what it's set aside for. So this is all of this video, guys. I told you that it was like super short. I just want to come on here and say that. I just want to come on here and talk to you guys, okay? All right, so also, guys, make sure that you hop over to my new Instagram. It's called A Pink Cloth Life. And then also my new website is called pinkcloth.co. And like I say, until next time, guys, peace.